Jag har en plan. Hello, hi, and welcome to Might and Delight and our little fireside chat. And this time I'm bringing with me Josef Tuulse, that's our audio director. And before I let you in and explain what you do, I'm just going to say, below we have a lot of links. So like us and follow us, and we'll be very happy. And feel free to ask questions in the comments. But now, over to you, Josef, audio director. What do you do then if you work with game? What's your role? What do you do, really?
That's a very good question. But you could say I'm responsible for everything in the game that will reach the ears. We have basically we have three, we have the visual and we have the audio, and that's how we communicate with the player, and the player can respond back with the input basically, and that's it. My part is the ears, and what reaches the ears of the players, and how we use it. We use it in many different ways, of course, but that's basically my job.
So you're like the ear magician, something like that.
Yeah, working. Yeah, when you work with sound, you have the privilege to come up with different kinds of magical touches that will communicate subliminal to the player. So yeah, a bit of magic in there.
Yeah. I'm just going to say with this sound thingy, yes, I hear this thing too, and we tried to figure out what it was. Squeaking sound coming over the YouTube feed, and I couldn't figure out. And you see that Josef is in his office, so he's going around looking at his, and we've both been like, it's very quiet. What is it? And it's kind of, I don't know if it's embarrassing that we're here with the sound guy and this happens, or if it's like just, yeah. Is it a cricket? There's a lot of speculation here, and I'm like, it's very quiet when I'm at, and it's killing someone's ears. I think it's most likely on your side of things. But I don't know. There's a beep, yes, which is fun on a live about sound. Yes, we do appreciate the irony. We're trying to fix it.
Should I get? I could try to plug in a different microphone.
I think you should do something. I'm blaming you here. I don't know. It could be me too, but in the meantime, let's Josef have a very nice like corner office that we see parts of. Yeah, we have also someone says mute mic. I love our fans. You're like solving our problems here. Someone says it's because some informatic object are too close. Is your phone too near the microphone?
Does it go away now, Anna?
Yeah, now it's gone.
Okay, then it's...
Or it's back. It's back.
It's this computer here. Hang on.
Okay, he found it. Yeah, so this is what you see here, and I will force Josef to turn the camera around, is part of his office. He has this really cool corner office with lots of soundy stuff. Me, who's not a sound person. And we get a virtual hug here. Thank you. What do we have? Yeah, someone says, Matthew says here, mute and unmute. Is it gone now?
No.
Yeah, I don't hear it. Do any one of you hear it?
Is it gone?
I don't hear it. Is the chat? What does the chat say? What's the verdict? Have we solved the sound problem? Yay! It's gone.
It's gone. Great. That means I can still keep my job.
Since you can still keep it. Since I pitched your office, can you like turn the camera around a bit and show you all your kind of soundy stuff
it's nothing special, but this is my work space here. I have a big screen on the wall, There's a window behind that curtain there, and there's a window on the back.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have all kinds of audio gear here if you want to get into that. But we don't use a lot of synthesizers in Book of Travels, as we have before in our earlier games, especially PID that was set in space. But the Book of Travels is more since it's like pre-industrial era. It's we try to stick to organic pads and organic sounds, but of course there's some processing involved and like that. Yeah.
I will get back to that with organic sounds because that sounded exciting. But I would like, since you're like the ear magician here, that I'm going to go on. Like we have, because you both have then sound and like music, background, ambience and stuff. And then I'm guessing voices and actors and things like that. But if we shall begin with the music, how does it work? Like, I'm guessing the production team has like, oh, we have a taverna or a bar. How do we... How do you and then they're like, we want music to it, or we have a tea room. What happens next?
Yeah, I mean, the music in the game has many roles to play, and the system that we have developed now over the years is quite advanced. So of course there's the score of the game, which is what you're used to when playing a game. It's what like kicks in when you start the game, and it like comments on different aspects. Like if there's a fight going on, you're gonna get like a battle soundtrack, or if you're in a sneaky area, you can like get some kind of suspense soundtrack, and these are all cues that we have imagined ourselves that we would need. So I mean, from the start, it was kind of speculative, like what do we need to make a game, and then we created a list of different cues that the musicians and I started to work with, and as the game has developed, we have many more aspects of music that we consider now that is not like considered score, but we have like musical events that are part of the game world. So rather than being like a something that plays on top of the game, it's something that's being takes part in the game itself by NPCs and players as well. But we're still working on it.
Yeah. So, but if you go into like a bar, like say bar in Star Wars, but now it's a bar in Book of Travels, there can be a band playing music that you helped produce or create or something.
Yeah, there can be a band. I mean, the game is a kind of stage, and anything can take place there. But we have a scenario where there's a band in the game playing. Absolutely. And we also have scenarios where there are kind of this priests massing and singing, and there's choirs, and there's also animals almost verging into musical expressions, and so there are all kinds of different parts here coming together in the game. And then we have our lovely musicians, Ulf Wallgren and Jocke Pettersson and Alfred, which is the trio that we have been working with since 10 years actually. Back that produce music for the game. They call themselves Retro Family, and they're friends of the studio. So they have written to many of our games. Yeah.
Cool. So like when you begin, Book of Travels has a very distinct art style, and I'm guessing when they developed art, they had different inspiration source. Was there a way, like when you began developing the music and the sound of Book of Travels, that you were like, yes, this is the inspiration sources? You mentioned that you were liking organic, doing more organic because it was pre-industrial. Like what was how did you begin to work to create like a unique kind of sound of the game?
It's since this like the land where Book of Travels is the place you go to is a made up region in the world. So to begin with, we had to like come up with what kind of culture would have spawned in this kind of place, you know. So we had all these ideas about when in history, and about like regional where and how and what kind of culture. And so we were experimenting a lot with scales and like what kind of folky, you know, expressions would music that would have developed in this era be, you know. So we're looking at all kinds of folk music, and also all kinds of like Western Eastern relations in music, and we really wanted to find something that was in between many things, and that wasn't like that you can't really trace the scales directly to, yeah, well, this is like Bhangra style, or this is like pentatonic monk music, or straight like Middle Eastern scales. So we wanted to come up with a kind of a language that would fit the world. So that's how we started, and now, of course, when we have worked for quite a while, it's taking its own course, and we don't really have to control it anymore, because we have kind of found the music has found itself in the game, pretty much. Yeah.
How many like different, or do you know, like, because then you have like, okay, we have this little area here with this type of music, this little area here. So did you go then one by one and like, okay, so this area is more this and it's been inspired, or like, how does that work?
Yeah, we have some ideas about like the regions in Braided Shores, like the south and the west, and there's also the winds that they come back a lot in the lore. The winds have a lot of meaning in the game, and the areas also, like there's an idea where the music, listen to that, where the music can be a bit different depending on where you are, and it will also tell you if you're in a safe place, or if you're in a hazard, like in a place where you might get attacked or end up in a fight. So besides being just a commentary, it's supposed to like also tell you if you're in trouble or not. Yeah.
I have a question here from Sven Matthias. Is there a particular challenge to design sounds that didn't break the calm and relaxing atmosphere? As you were talking right now about like when it's trouble, do you still keep this calm and relaxing, or is like, yeah, have you worked with that?
I would say no. We don't. I mean, Book of Travel is supposed to be a very relaxing game, and it is. But when it hits you and the action starts with the relaxing vibe is supposed to break. So it's in the difference between the relaxing and the stressfulness of the battle, you know, that will make you feel it. You know, if we would just keep a straight line through the whole game. Yeah, you need the dramatic tension and the movement and the.
So if one wants to
atmosphere and music,
yeah. So like if one listen to the Book of Travels like soundtrack before sleep, there can be drama there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there are some tracks that you wouldn't sleep to, I think, but yeah. And
so there, yeah. And here we have a question. Oh, and I'm just going to confirm to everyone, yes, it was The Hobbit on my phone. I'm a nerd. But let's talk about... I love that everyone takes it on like the first little note, and I'm like, I should have taken the phone up. Yeah, sorry about that, but we're
on silent.
Yeah, I was also like silent. I mean, yeah, doing this, but yes, it's just a testament to how important music is, and like maybe I don't know. if we ever release this as ringtones, we can have Book of Travels and your music as ringtones. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Now we had a question from. Oh, I'm bad at pronouncing things. But the question is, anyhow, can you talk about the contrast balance between organic natural sound, post-industrial sound, and magical sound? Has this odd world posed a challenge for coherent audio design? Like, do you understand the question?
I do understand. It has been a challenge because, I mean, if we whenever we have tried to introduce like synthesized or sounds, it hasn't really blended in nice. So for the magic and for the spells and for all that overworldly stuff that takes place in the game, there's a lot of natural sound being used there as well, like a lot of chimes and a lot of like granular stuff going on when you cast spells, and so it has been a challenge to make it work, because we can't use any bleeps or squeaks or frequency modulation or even effects. Like, now I'm going into like sound production terms, but as like flangers or phasers or like traditional effects you could use in music doesn't work in the game for because of what it is, in its own world. So
because you only want to use like organic sound and not to synthesized sounds.
I mean,
like...
we don't have a rule like that, but it's become obvious to us what works in Book of Travels and what does not work, and synthesized effects tend not to work. But I'm not saying we don't use synthesized effects at all, but most of it is recordings of natural sounds.
Yeah. Because I have a question on that here from Francis, who says, do the instrument used in the music reflect those that would be played in Braided Shore? Has that how you have kind of designed it? Or
the instruments are in the sound. The instruments in the soundtrack is some Middle Eastern guitars, but there's also the standard Western guitar, and then a whole array of percussion instrument, and then there's a fretless bass, acoustic bass. So it's not medieval instruments, but they're all they are all acoustic in some way. Yeah.
Is that excited then when you work with different musicians? You're like, I want this kind of feel, and they're like, I have this type of instrument, or like, so you try to figure out new kind of, or old kind of sounds.
No, it was all in the early discussions of the Braided Shore and the culture. It was all based on what could actually be convincing that this would be an instrument that could exist here, and that goes for many different aspects of the game. Also, when it comes to the language and what they speak and what the different dialects and like the pronunciation of things also is originated around this imaginary place. So it comes back to a lot of stuff, and of course visually there's very, very many references that I can't answer for here, but
so you try to keep it like the art and the music should talk the same language, like. We have someone who said old record devices, but I'm thinking that maybe that's the. Do you use old record devices?
Oh, like tape machines and stuff like that? I think Jukka has a tape echo that he puts on the guitar, actually, because I can hear the wobble go, and I suspect he's not using a modern process like computer processing. Yeah. But
Cool.
yeah.
So some of it.
I enjoy tape myself, but most of it's desktop based. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a computer there. We can see it where I'm guessing all the magic happens when you.
Yeah, when it all comes down to the game, it's of course 100% digital in the end. So all our analog striving will of course end up as ones and zeros.
Yeah. So but because it's all the sound goes through you and through that computer over there before they end up in the game.
Yeah, some of it goes. I have a partner on the sound department, Magnus. So some of the sound go directly from him into the game. He's doing a great job being taken responsible for his part. So I don't have to check everything, but a lot of it goes.
A lot of it. We also had a question here from Imaginaton, I think. What is your favorite sound or sound instance in the game? Or is this to like ask you to choose what's your favorite child? I don't know. Like, do you have what's?
I mean, there are many things I am proud of in the sound system in the game, how it works. I mean, we have a weather system that is completely independent from the area system, and we have a music system that is completely independent and can work in many different ways, and things can be combined. I mean, I think that like going into a town area in the game is something that I like. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the sound design. When you come into a city and there's a thriving life, and there's people speaking all over, and then you can speak to independent people, and you'll get response from every little individual in the street, and there can be a musician on the street, and at the same time there's kids playing around by the water and laughing, and then you can step into a tea house, and it will give you the illusion that you have stepped inside, and suddenly you're in someone's home, or in a tea house or a taverna or something, and the audio will follow along this whole journey. And that's I really love the cities in the game. But then there's vast nature. If you want to walk out in a field and just listen to the birds, that's totally a nice experience too. And I mean, we try to make it as dynamic and modular as possible, so events don't play out the same every time they play, and they will keep changing, and there's a lot of randomness to the world, and that has of course been one of the hardest parts of the game, that how much control, like no matter how much control I would like to have, it's just impossible to know what takes place, because the game is living by itself. And I mean, the day we open the servers, it's just going to keep on going, it will be this living thing, and all we can do is go in and maybe press a button here and there. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting to let people in for real.
We don't have a date for you. We know you asked, but there is no date. We can say nothing, but we can talk about music some more. That we can do. But yes, there also was a question if you could, and I can't find it now, if you can play instruments, and I believe it will happen, but not quite now. Like, can you pick up an instrument and play in the game?
Yeah, this is one of the stretch goals that we had when we did the Kickstarter a while back, which was of course like major. It was quite close after we did our announce that we were actually doing the game, and then we did the Kickstarter, and we had some features that we wanted to see what kind of interest we could get. And many people thought that this would be a good idea to play music together. So this is something that we have been working on, and it's something that will be implemented, but it will come along as we get everything else in place. It's so this is one of the stretch goals of the Kickstarter. So we have promised to give it to you guys, so it will come.
It will come, yes.
Yeah.
So let's. And then there's someone here is asking, are there any album, song, artist, composer that you have been looping in your head as an inspiration? What's your inspirations here?
Yeah, I mean, both me and the musicians and from the creative direction have had many different like inspirations, but those were pretty early on, and after we got started, we have been reacting to what we have done basically and where we want to go with it. But some of it has been Turkish influenced music, and some of it has been quite really modern music that's kind of like artsy, non-rhythmical, free music, you know. And I have a playlist where we had some stuff. I can see.
Yeah.
Maybe we can post a link with some inspiration.
Oh yeah, and we have Oliver somewhere in the chat, so you can probably Slack him the link, and he can put it in the chat or get it to me, so we can. You're like inspirational, so even if we can't hear all the Book of Travels music yet, we can at least do that. Yes, and we have Sven, who's a happy man. That's very good. You will be able to, at one point, maybe not when the early access, but at some other point that we don't know quite yet, can play music. But yes, you also, besides music and creating ambience and going into cities and tea houses, you also mentioned something about actors and voice and language. And this is also under the ear magic. So what is this? Will there be people talking in the game, and what language will they be talking, and how are you working with that?
This has been like how we early on when we decided how we're going to communicate with the player, and like audio has to be a major part of the character. I mean, the characteristic in the voice is very important for these small NPCs on the screen. Because we have this, as you know, a really wide shot, and you move on this plane in the world, and by hearing the voices, you get closer to the NPCs or the non-playable characters. So using English was is effective because it's like the universe, very universal. Many games are in English, but we didn't want it to be like proper English, like British or American. So we decided to go halfway, and then so we want them to kind of speak this version of English that they would speak in the Braided Shore, like a pidgin kind or a broken kind. So we've been looking at that when they speak English in the game, and they also speak their own language, which is called Vellum, which we have actually. I mean, this goes 10 years back to when we did PID. They were already speaking this language in the game. I don't know if we have any PID fans out there, but if you're observant, you're gonna recognize some words there. But so now we have developed this whole vocabulary and pronunciation of the native language in the game, and our Helen and Dennis here in the studio and me we take this a bit further every time we need a new character. We like, okay, what can we come up with now? And then as it turns out, this has been the easiest way to give them an actual language and a culture, because like whenever we just make stuff up or ad lib it, it will not be consistent. So to keep it all consistent, we have given them a language.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're back to Tolkien, creating your own languages. Do you have something? Can we hear something of this language, or can you say something in it? How it sounds like? Because
let's see. Maybe I can have this guy.
Because also because I tested it a bit, even as marketing, and I like that you could choose the voice of your characters. Like, is it a high voice or low voice or tone? I felt that I really like the character process, but that's because I like to play characters.
Exactly. Yeah. So the character you choose will have a set of vocal expressions, basically, that are used in many ways. And in the long run, I hope they will also learn that you can learn how to speak this language. But right now you can run into different kind of characters that will communicate with you. Here's a salesman trying to sell his new invention.
Okay. And if one who doesn't...
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. And if one doesn't speak this language yet, which of course we will learn eventually, how do one understand what this salesperson is saying?
The communications is both in audio and text. So you will have all the crucial information will be told with text, and the audio is kind of its own system working alongside here, giving more of a character flavor to the NPCs. So then they go hand in hand. They in combination, I think they give a really strong characteristic to all the NPCs. So you can hear them, and then they can speak to you, and then you will get information, text-based information, as in many games, of course. But yeah.
Wow, cool.
And there are many characters in the game, and we're just doing our best to keep track of everyone, and they can show up many times, and they can show up in different places, and you will recognize some of them, and some are just crowds of this world. You know? But they all have.
Is it you who've been working with like voice actors for this, and they've been learning this and doing this and?
Absolutely. I think we're up to about 30 voice actors now in the game, and some of the voice actors have done more than one character, of course. So here and there you get a little cameo from the Might and Delight crew, and a lot of Might and Delighters has put a little voice in there, and and I mean. Now is the time when it's all coming together. It's like it's a nice feeling to walk around and speak to people in the game. I think we're up to enough voices as like where it doesn't become repetitive, and you can you get the feeling that the uniqueness of all the characters, and
Nice. Yeah, and since it's coming together now, are you like when you're testing it and playing it, are you like, here's some good music, I should have tweaked that, or are you like, I'm happy?
I mean, you're never happy. There's always more to do. I mean, you always wish you could, put more time on, and I mean, as everybody knows, we have been struggling with delays, and but whenever I come across one of those moments where I would like to have something new here, or I would like to make something new, or I need to remix something old or do something, I do it. So I try to get as much content in as possible, and then I mean, this will be a living project, so it will keep on going, And it's going to be really exciting to see what people say about it. That's the.
We also had, I'm going to answer another question first. Someone asked if that person missed the start. Will this be available as a replay? Yes, it will be up on the Might and Delight YouTube, and follow us. I've learned that you should always say follow us on YouTube. So you will get it, and follow all our social media and so on. But it will be there, so you can watch it. We also done other ones when I talk to other people in the studio, so you can get an idea what's going on. And then I was going to ask this question: how does the audio complement or amplify the game's root in tabletop gaming and the paper visual textures for the UI? I don't know if it does that. It
does. I mean, tabletop role-playing has been one of the greater inspirations for the game. So we have tried to mimic a bit of pen and paper and dice expression to the game. That we like the feeling of old tabletop role playing, and whatever we can manage to put into our game is nice.
But are you an old tabletop role player as well?
Yeah, I did a lot of tabletop games like D&D and Mutant and Samurai and all the Swedish role-playing game that was going on back then. So all the way up to my late teens, I did role-playing.
But were you then, since you love music as well, and I kind of gather from your room and all your instrument that maybe you have done music all your life, is my guess here. Were you the one who okay, we're gonna, when you play a role-playing game, you take a film soundtrack or something in the background to create an atmosphere?
I heard people did that a lot. I mean, they put on storm sounds, and then they were in a. No, I was in a role playing game where we did mostly impro acting. We didn't do a lot of dice and stuff. But we could spend nights and days just playing a scenario at a little hostel somewhere or something. Yeah.
And now you're making this game that people should play nights and days playing online. How does that feel? Or does it feel good giving to the next crowd?
Exciting. It feels exciting, of course. I mean, it's we've been working hard, and we've been working long with this. So now I'm happy that people will finally get access to it.
Because we haven't announced a new date for when the early access will be. I'm just going to be clear, no date for anyone, sorry, but we're seeing the light in the end of the tunnel. And whenever I'm thinking, or I'm seeing it, are you seeing it as well?
It's starting to dawn on me.
Yeah, but as someone says here, there will be coming chapters for new music. So I'm guessing you are also seeing ahead, adding more things and doing more things.
Absolutely, and as we go into early access, as you have seen, we call it chapter 0, and there's of course something behind that this is we open the book, but the story will unveil as we update and go into the next chapter. So I encourage people to be in from the beginning when the stories unveil.
Yes, and listen to the music that I'm guessing one will be able to listen to as well on other parts of the. Yeah. So I think I'm going to see. I think I have most of my questions answered. I'm going to see if the chat has more answer. I'm trying to keep them a bit shorter now, but there are more other firesides you can listen to. so you can dive into the wonderful world. But what happens in your world? Like tomorrow, are you? What's the day for you? Are you like, yeah, you're coming to work, listening, or what's the next kind of thing you're working on now? Are you like finalizing some sound somewhere, or what is happening?
I lately every day for me has been a bit like, what is the most prioritized task that I can tackle to make the game better? So I'm constantly trying to find being as effective as possible in what we change and what we put in, so I can make bigger changes with my days. So right now we are stabilizing, and we are mixing, and we are putting in the last pieces of the music that should go into early access. And mixing is a great part of the sound design, basic, like where you create the drama basically of the narrative. You want to follow the narrative with the different elements we have, and sometimes, I mean, music is so direct and so like almost violently effective on the player, and sometimes the best way is to take away the music, and you will get the dramatic tension you're seeking, so that's what I'm doing right now, and a lot of it's also event-based work where we create sounds for different kind of events taking place in the world.
And no, or did you? Yeah. And that's a kind of sound.
That was dialogue and music and mixing is my days.
Mixing.
Right,
that's your days, yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you have like other inspiration? Like, since you're a sound person here, and then, as you say, music can very much disturb or add, or like, do you have any like movies or other games you watch that you're like, yeah, that music, there they have done it good or interesting or something?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, coming from movies, I before I started working with Might and the Light and came into game as a game developer, I movies was my life. That was I was working with then. And there's so many.
I'm here.
Soundtracks, and
but if you get to mention one or maybe two, if I'm kind, like this is some interesting.
Interesting sound design. I mean, if you want to, we have the different elements of sound design. I mean, I don't know if people are familiar with what we call different, but we have different categories that we use for the sound design, and one of them is Foley, where it's basically the noise of the actors moving around. So if you're like tying a rope, or if you're putting on clothes, or it all makes noise, and it's important to get the detail and the reality of what's taking place in the game. But if you want to dig deeper into that, I mean, a great inspiration for many people at Might and Delight is Miyazaki, and he's referred to now and then when we do stuff. You're like, yeah, we want a Miyazaki feeling. I wouldn't say we use his kind of music, but his kind of cuteness and the detail and stuff. And if you want to see like this little miniature character, you remember her name, Lånarna? Is that the
I love those. What are those what do you call them? It's an English children's book.
Yeah, they did
from the beginning. The borrowers, are they called that? They're very small and live in people's houses and borrow things from them.
Yeah.
Can anyone help us what they're called in English? Okay.
But Miyazaki's sound design is splendid, and if you want to get deeper into like Foley and that kind of stuff, you can check out the movie Master and Commando, which has no music at all, not a single note, which you will not really think about when seeing it, but it's all Foley and sound effect, and still very dramatic.
We also had the question if the game is made in Unity. Yes, it is. And I think someone said it's the borrowers. Yes, that's what you were talking about. And Ariete is the main character.
Yeah, Ariete is Ariete has great sound.
Yeah, so that's it. There, someone solved it for us. Thank you, internet. So Ariete and the borrowers and Miyazaki, and then also Master and Commanders are some very different sound designs.
Yeah, and I mean Master and Commander has a lot of rope and cloth and stuff to it, and so does our game. It has knots, magical knots, and a lot of whooshy noises.
Okay, and what would you say Book of Travels have a lot of? What does that have a lot of noises of? Master kind of.
It has a lot of that aspects to it. It has different kind of identifiers that we try to use the audio as to help the player identify characters, and so when there are merchants and there are wardens and there are children in the game, and they will have.
How excited are you about this game now? Do you play it and are and listen to the thing when it's going to come out? As you said, you worked for it for a long time. How are you feeling now?
I feel I would like to have played it more. I every day I want to play it more, and of course I do short game sessions all the time. But I would really want to just couch up and play it for hours and days and see how long I could come. But then there's the work tasks as well. So I'm going to be excited to play it in a long session and a continuous session, and not only game test, do the short. The short game test that we do all the time at Might and the Light. We have weekly tests, and then we speak about it. But some of us play it all the time, and I wish that I could be one of them. But
okay, but hopefully you listening and watching here will soon get to play it.
Yeah.
But we don't have a release date yet. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Do you have some final words you want to say to the audience?
I can just say thanks for sticking with us, and it's overwhelming to read all the comments and anticipation and all the love for Might and the Light that is out there, and I can really feel it. And now I've been with the company for a long time, and it's fantastic to have such a fan base. Yeah.
Yes. But then I'm going to say thank you, Josef, for doing this, and thank you all. Follow us below and watch out. The game may come at some point, or we're seeing the light of the tunnel. And thank you for listening. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.